Thank you so much for always sharing our content, putting it out there. We really appreciate the support. Like we keep telling you, Pittside strives hard to make sure that we bring you the biggest headlines of the world of football, especially in Ugandan football. I'm definitely at a venue that all of you guys know. This is the MTN Omondi Stadium, home to 13-time league champions, 10-time domestic champions, KCCFC. Well, I'm not here to do a KCCFC interview. I'm here to catch up with very, very important people who are in the country, scouting some very, very good talent. Of course, catching up on so many academies that have been here for the last 2 days, courtesy of somewhere in Africa. They've brought together a number of academies that have been training here at Lugogo with the sole purpose of making sure that they bring in scouts from across the world, especially in Europe, that are going to have a say on how ready some of these youngsters are. So it's my privilege and honor to catch up with some of the scouts. One of them is Mr. Bernard Kumoji, a Ghanaian, ex-Ghanaian international, ex-Black Star international, who is joining me here on pitch side. Yes, Bernard.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Happy to have you on pitch side.
Happy to be here.
How do they greet in Ghana? First, I know some Pidgin, but I need to learn how you greet in Ghana.
Of course, in the most popular language,
yes.
We say Ethicene.
Ethicene.
Yeah,
Ethicene.
Yeah.
In Uganda, we say Ogambo Sebo.
Oh, okay. And then how do I respond?
Jendi Sebo.
Indisable.
Jendi.
Jendi Sebo.
Okay. All right. So Bernard.
Yep.
Somewhere in Africa is an organization in Uganda that is trying to make sure they give a future to so many young footballers to actually go to Europe and perform so well. Let's start with who Bernard Kumoji is and how you find yourself in Uganda.
Okay, first of all, my name is Bernard Kumoji.
Yes.
I'm ex-Ghanaian international and also a pro footballer. I'm from Ghana as origin. And I'm based in Belgium. Currently, I work for a club called KRC Genk.
Yes.
Do you know KRC?
I know
Okay.
Genk, yeah.
So I work for a club called KRC Genk in Belgium. I'm the representative in Africa. So I'm in charge of Africa. My job is basically to go around Africa, finding the next talents that can bright the name of Africa.
Bernard, at what age in your career did you think it's high time for you to quit football, and where did you get the interest to be a scout?
Okay, so while I was playing in the dressing room, I was always good with the young ones. I was the go-to guy for the young ones. So from there, I started developing interest in helping the young ones. So every dressing room that I played, or any young player that arrives in the dressing room, I'm the first guy that he goes to for information. For instance, I help them basically with adaptation. So the passion came from there. Helping the young ones.
How has it been for you so far in this field of scouting? And maybe who are some of those notable names that you've related with in this business?
The journey, I can say, so far has been really interesting because of course it's a nice job, I can say, because you travel the whole of Africa.
Yes.
And then you see things and then you learn also a lot, because for me, I've been to a lot of countries like Senegal, Ghana, Nigeria. I've seen the level of talents. So it's good to go to all those countries too, so you are able to compare the level of talents in Africa. And being in Uganda, I think I've seen something that is interesting to follow.
Briefly, maybe in your workspace, who are some of the players that we see today on TV, or maybe the ones you expect to come that you've dealt with, or coaches?
Okay. So for me, I shared the dressing room with Fred Ndidi. Ndidi came to Genk when I was injured. So at that time, I was only doing recovery. So I shared a dressing room with him from day one. I was there to help him grow, and after 1 or 2 years, he was in the Premier League playing, So he's one of the players that I can say I know how he built his career in Europe.
All right, that's interesting. Yeah. So you've been in Uganda for a couple of days. First of all, how has experience been?
Yeah, of course, it has been amazing, So the first thing that, of course, we always look out for is the safety of the country, and so far we have been really safe in the country, which is really interesting, and the people are also really kind, and it's a calm country, you don't see a lot of noise. So for me, the experience has been great so far.
All right, so let's get to the business. A couple of days you've been here, you've seen a number of players. What's your take on what you've seen?
For me, I think I've seen a lot of great potentials. Of course, there are only few players that you can say, okay, this player is ready for Europe, or that one is ready for Europe. But there is a lot of potential that you see if they have been worked on really well by a good coach. They can have the level as well. So for me, I'm impressed with the level that I've seen here in terms of positioning, technical ability of players. I've seen a lot of good things that maybe in the next time that I come, I would like to see improvement on those players, because they've already shown the basics,
Maybe the biggest question that I want to know, that I want to pass on you, is that today in Africa, it's very fair and honest to say that West Africa has taken the lead in producing players in the European markets, in Belgium, in Spain, wherever, the lower leagues and all. With having spent a bit of time here, what are some of those things you feel Uganda needs to borrow to produce the Wilfred Ndidis, to produce the Kelechi Iheanachos? What are those things that you can point out so far that you've seen here in Uganda?
It's just the tempo, the speed of the game. Because the last 2 days, of course, today was much better. The last 2 days, I saw teams that were good, position wise on the pitch. The players knows how to position themselves. They know when to make a run, when to have patience to wait to receive the ball. They have all those things, but they are missing the speed and the handling of the ball, because for me in Senegal, you watch 10 games, you see 10 games, you see 10 teams that are fighting each other, in every situation. They don't give any little opportunity away, So for me, the difference now that I can say in the few days that I've been here in Uganda and what I've seen in the last 2 days, the difference is just the speed of the game.
What are those things you could point out that the European market considers to actually take on a player from Africa? What are those 3-4 talking points you can point out? Because people out there that are watching pitch side want to use this show to learn.
Yeah, so for me, most of my majority or the baseline that you need is the game intelligence. For example, I know when to move, when to wait, when to play fast. Ball handling speed, know what to do before you receive the ball. So for me, those are the 4 key things that every player must know, or the exceptional players have already, So once you're watching the game and you see those, is a guy that is aware of his position on the pitch, a guy that knows when to move, when to wait, those are the things, So once you see that in the boy, you see that he looks different in the game or immediately, So those are the things.
Yeah, but also when the player gets there, why do you think most of our players, from some parts of Africa, struggle to fit in Europe? What are those things that they need to learn to adapt quickly and do better?
For me, it's just, I can say the culture is always different. For the Europeans, they always like to do everything on a good level, But here is the case in Africa. We always think, okay, maybe in training I take it easy, and then in the game I go 100%. Whereas in Europe it's different. Everything is done on 100%, So in training you feel like training will be easy, but you arrive and then you see that the training is on another level, and the intensity is there. The biggest thing that we always fall back is the intensity, because there everything is intense, and you need to be smart also on the pitch, because if you're not smart, one mistake is goal. The other team always capitalize on the mistakes of the opponent. So those are some of the things that when we arrive in Europe as Africans, we are always one step behind. The intensity of the game is really high.
Okay, the facilities, just how important are facilities in the growth of a footballer in every aspect, not only the pitch but Briefly, give me an insight on that.
Yeah, I think for me, facility is the main thing. Because I was speaking to my colleague here, and I was telling him we were discussing, to build a footballer, you need a pitch. Or to be a team owner, I think the first thought you should have is to have a good pitch. Because these days the football is based on passing, and I've already talked about passing a lot. The speed of the passing, the intensity, and all comes from the infrastructure. So if you go to Senegal, you go to the Ghana, for instance, Ivory Coast, I think every maybe 1,000 meters or something, in every neighborhood you see 3-4 pitches in every neighborhood. So it means every kid is getting access to a good pitch to train at least once or twice in a week, which helps in passing, which makes the coach's job easier. Because for instance, I'm a coach and I want to plan a training, passing training. I cannot do it on a rough pitch where the ball is always bouncing. So facility and the infrastructure is very important to improve players in Africa, and that's what we lack, and that's one of the things also that makes the African players step back when they arrive in Europe, because you're not used to training on a good facility. So for instance, in my case, when I arrived in Europe, I was not used to playing on a good pitch, so whenever it rains a little bit, it became difficult for me. The ball moves faster, then became difficult for me. I needed time to adapt to that, So facility is one of the most important and the base of football.
Okay, I don't want you to leave this set because I'm going to invite someone who is responsible for you guys to have a very good experience here. And this gentleman is a popular person in Uganda. He's one of the most known people. I'll take this opportunity to welcome Honorable Kayemba Solo, the Member of Parliament, Bukoma Nsimbi. Honorable Kayemba Solo is is the man behind this whole project. What a man with a big heart. I mean, looking out for Ugandan talent and caring to bring in experienced scouts from Europe to come and take a look at the Ugandan talent and give them their fair analysis. Somewhere in Africa is an organization that has spearheaded this whole campaign. Honorable Kayemba Solo, you're welcome on Pitchside, sir. We're happy to have you, and well, thank you for bringing these guests for us.
So I'm also happy to have me. Thank you for coming and cover our tournament. These are only our brothers. They come from Europe, but they are Ugandans.
They are Ugandans.
They are African. They are Ugandans. Yeah. They only change the environment, but they are here.
So, Honorable Kayemba Solo, this whole project is something that many Ugandans need to know about. First of all, where do you get the dream and what drives you? Before even you talk anything, Honorable Kayemba Solo is not only a member of Parliament, he's the leading football agent in this country. I have said it, so please understand it. I'm near the Mugaga. I have to say the right things. So anyways,
you are planning the Lusaka.
The Lusaka has to happen. Solo, briefly on this program.
No, you see, Uganda has a question every time you find. Why don't we have great players in the 5 top leagues?
Yes.
Every time they ask that question, why don't we have such players at the top leagues? But it's a process which we need to start. It's already the process and the project. So we need to start with young players. You can't get a player of 24 and take him to Belgium, take him to Croatia or anywhere. They want young players that they can improve, they can mentor to see that they can become big players. So that's why we decided to do this tournament. I always go to Europe and I find my brothers there. I tell them Uganda have a lot of talent. They ask me who's your most popular Ugandan player now. And in fact, we don't have at a top level. So they decided, they trusted us and they said, let us come to the ground. We start the process and we said, never know we can get a good talent which we can build and become one of the Premier League players or any other top league players.
All right, so today, somewhere in Africa has organized this camp here at the KCCA Stadium in Lugogo, which is Kampala, the Central Business District. What is the vision of this project and where else, maybe season 2, when is it happening and how big can it grow?
Of course, we got the top academies in the country, the top under 17 teams in the country. You have seen KCS has been playing for this league for quite a long time. You have seen URA is a team that has shown great potential over the years. You have seen Rays of Grace. It's a top academy with a school in Mukono. You have seen Ebenezer with the main man Yafes. Very passionate about sports and other clubs that you saw yesterday. So we think they have the top talent being in the central region here. Next time we'll go to the northern, we'll go to the eastern, the southern and elsewhere. But at least we go to, with academies that have the best and top talents in the region. And we are sure we have at least seen something, and we are sure the future might be bright. We haven't got the best, but we have got something which we can start on. At least it's good for these people that travel the miles and miles to come here to go back when at least they have some hope. I think we'll have where to start from now.
All right, Bernard, the one thing I want to ask you is that from Ghana specifically, there are top academies there. There is, I think, right to play, stuff like that. How do you think government can help people like, Solomon Kayemba, who have invested heavily to have you guys here, but also most importantly, use you to grow, football in this country?
Yeah, for me, we spoke about infrastructure. For me, the only way that the government can help is build as many pitches as they can in the good locations. I think that's the only way, that you can have top academies. Because once you have the pitch, which is the base for training the kids, and then everything starts. So I think having the good facilities is the key.
And what's your take home for someone like Solo and what he has done?
For me, I think you just have to keep going, because that's the only way you open the way for the young ones, because if people don't know about the country or they don't know the talent that you guys have, and then it becomes difficult, So I think what he's doing is really important for the country and also for the young generation as a whole, I think you just have to keep going, just keep organizing it year by year. And now you see maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe next year is going to be more, because for me now that I've seen what I've seen here, I can already advocate or share it with other scouts and other clubs that I know in Europe. So the next edition, of course, there will be more scouts and more clubs available, to scout, So I think it's a great initiative, and that's the only way forward.
All right, so maybe your parting shots as you wrap this up for the.
I just thank my brothers here who decided to come. We decided to come when they don't know what they are going to find, when they don't know how Uganda looks like, but they put trust on us and to come. The main man, Chago, who lies on this with Yasin. My main man Bernard and Kenneth, all the people that came. I think it's a great honor for us to host them here at no fee. But they just decided let us come and see what's there. So we are grateful, sir. Hopefully next time we'll have a great number, and we hope this starts a new thing that Uganda will benefit out of it. But we might not see the results in 2 years, but even if it's in 10 years, we are ready to work with you this journey.
Thank you. Thank you for
we're joined by Solomon Kayemba, Honorable.
Hi, people of Command. May God bless and guide.
Guys, Bernard didn't come alone. Allow me to bring in his 2 other colleagues. It's only fair, man. It's only fair. The spirit is brotherhood.
Yes.
Yeah, without a doubt. Please, right there. Thank you very much. I think do the honors of asking them their names. They introduce themselves.
So what's your name?
My name.
No. Hold on. Just
So I will interview them.
Okay, go ahead.
So welcome to Uganda.
Thank you.
So my name is Bernard. So introduce yourself, please.
My name is Kennedy. I'm Nigerian. I also play professionally and also work for Antwerp at the moment as a scout for Africa. So I'm happy to be here in Uganda. And I think the hospitality has been great. So we are all happy to be here.
Actually, we played together.
Oh, you played together?
We played together in Genk. Yes.
We played together in Genk. And I think how many years now we've known each other. And it's really good that after football that we still work in football. So
Great to see you, Kennedy. Okay.
So the next person we have here is Chego Matthias, also as Cameroon international and also scout and for almost 7 years now. So Chego, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Matthias Chago. I am also an ex-player. I spent the most of my career in Croatia. I play for second division Metallic. I play for Dinamo Zagreb. I play for the national team of Cameroon. and for the past 7 years, I'm the head scout for Africa for Lokomotiv Zagreb.
Kennedy, what's your analysis of the 3 days you've been here as a scout, and what's your take on Ugandan talent?
For me personally, I think we've seen some games with some teams who I think they have really good players, and also the way they play was interesting. And as well, also we see some teams who we think that the level that they have to do better in the way they play, and also the talents they have in the team. For me personally, I think as a whole, I've seen some interesting players who we think has the quality and the potential to make the next level to Europe. And I would say we'll likely come back and see how they improve in their games, and hopefully they will make that next step, going to Europe to play. That is the big stage, and I think every African player wants to play in Europe. So yeah, we've seen good things, and I think we always like to take the good points back, not the negative ones. So yeah,
Tell us what you've seen and your analysis of these 2 days you've been here.
What can I say? The same like Mr. Kenny just spoke about. We can see that you have a lot of good talents, and we let's say I saw few good players who can be interesting. I don't know, in few years, I don't know, to play in Europe. But the most important thing now, it is how they're going to develop, in these 1-2 years, So that's the how can I say this? That's the
next step.
Yeah, the next step, and it's very crucial. Because sometimes you came to the country, you see one young player who is 15 years old or 16 years old, you came after 1 year, and then you see that, he stay at the level, he stay in the same level, or maybe he go down. Yes. That's why you come now to the coaches, I don't know, to have a good program, the good project, and the good training, so that the player can just grow, day by day and year by year.
Yeah, I talked to him about why Ugandan players struggle in Europe and don't nail a starting spot and are not consistent. Maybe, again, you can reiterate the point. What are those main things that a player needs to have when they're in Europe for them to, be in that team week in, week out, like all the other African players from West Africa?
I think that the most important is the basic. Is the basic. If you want, the player to, Ugandan player to be in the next level, like in Europe, to be in the big clubs, it is first the basic, to have a good coach, to have a good development, you understand, and not just, to chase the result, but to chase the development of the, how can I say it, of the player, of the talent, and like I was speaking, 30 minutes ago, we have the same problem in Cameroon. For the past, let's say it was 10 or 15 years, we didn't have good coaches, with knowledge, in the academy. Somebody could be, just an ex-player and just, have the money and just start to coach his kid. You need the knowledge. That's why maybe it will be better to have with the coaches, to have some seminar, maybe 1 or twice per year when they will, to come and to be, to have more experience. Because if you cheat the kids, wrong, when it grow, he just have that in the mind. And then when he came to Europe, they say, he don't have this. They don't have time in Europe. They don't have time.
Okay, finally, any Ugandan players that that you followed, that you've read about, that you can tell us about?
Not really, because Uganda was not part of the countries that we really wanted to scout. My club wanted to scout, but now I think that is changing, because before coming here, I spoke to my boss, which is a chief scout, and we are now interested in adding Uganda to our scouting list. So for me, it will be a country that I will visit often.
No, I mean any professional player from Uganda that you heard of?
No, honestly, no. Honestly, no. We need to be honest.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for joining me from Cameroon, the Indomitable Lions. Led by President Samuel Eto'o. He's trying to do. By the way, what's your opinion on Samuel Eto'o? What does he? Is he trying to push the country forward as the president of Fecafoot?
Look, for me, I'm not. I can just see what is happening, in the news and speaking.
Oh, you're away from Cameroon.
But I think that he want to do good things, and people should let him, work.
Do his job. All right, Kennedy.
Yes, nice to meet you.
I will be happy.
You will be happy.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Kennedy.
Thank you.
All right. Guys, I've been able to engage 3 top scouts from Europe that have spent their very, very precious time here in Kampala, looking out for Ugandan talent to see if we have a future. And I can tell you for sure that we do have a future. They think we can work on a few things. They think we can develop, players the right way, and they are positive that they'll come back and definitely take more talent. For now, though, thank you for being on Pitch Side. As always, subscribe, comment, share. Cheers.
Thank you.